I've been thinking for the past couple of days exactly, how to say this and, how I want it to come across. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna talk. My father, I was notified Friday that my father passed away, that he died in hospice care back in Virginia, Sterling, Virginia, to be exact. That's where I'm originally from. And I also want to point out that I'm not posting this for likes or for comments. You don't need to, for anyone that listens to this, you don't need to comment anything, to be honest. It's really just for myself and therapy. You know what I mean? For too long, I've internalized things. I internalize way too much, and it's got to stop, including things that I'm dealing with, personally. A lot, man. This year has been hell for me, and it's just not healthy. At the end of the day, it's not healthy to just keep things bottled up inside. So I think this is the first step, and I highly suggest this for anyone that's dealing with any issues in your life. So he passed, and the backstory is that it's not really, you can never be prepared for death, but it definitely hit me, and I'm still absorbing it in the sense of like I still can't believe it. But back to what I was saying, my father's been mentally ill. He's got dementia and Parkinson's and bipolar disorder for over 10 years. So that's when I say that it wasn't the biggest surprise. Of course, he was in hospice, and I was notified in late February that he had maybe 5 or 6 months to live. So the backstory behind that is that I was traveling, a week, a month back to Virginia from here in San Francisco to, just to be with him and spend time with him and see him. But again, I mean, you can never be prepared for something like death. I am sad, but to be honest, man, I'm really mad. Like, it's a roller coaster of emotions, man. I'll get so mad, and I'm glad that I'm not like enraged right now, because I'll probably be saying things that I probably shouldn't be saying. But and I'll tell you why I'm mad, because good things do not always happen to good people, and bad things do not always happen to bad people. You know when people say, "Oh yeah, don't worry, their time will come," or what goes around comes around. Bullshit. I don't know what world you live in, but my world is definitely not like that at all. Bad things happen to good people that don't deserve it. There's no logic behind it. It just happens. Open up your Twitter timeline. And this is not to be negative. This is just the truth. Open up your Twitter timeline. Watch the news. Browse the internet. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. There's no sense to this. And I'll tell you why. And this is from my experience, so I can speak upon this. I can't speak upon any other situation. I can't speak upon yours. But my father was the nicest man on this earth. The nicest man that I knew. He was so nice. My parents are divorced, all right? But my mom said that he was too pure for this earth. She said it. She says things in her own way. She's a Chinese mom. So she says things, it's a little interesting. But, we understand what she's saying. She's saying that he was too genuine. He was too real. He was too honest. Too pure for this earth. And people took advantage of that. My dad was a scholar, brain. He went to MIT and graduate school at UCLA. Fucking super smart, man. He was an electrical engineer. Then he pursued his love of art and opened up an art gallery in Alexandria, Virginia in the 90s. Lost the gallery during that time period and became depressed, and that's how things kind of steamrolled into the other mental diseases. But back to what I was saying, he was so nice. He would lend colleagues. He would lend people in his life money, and I don't even know them all. You know what I mean? Because he cared about other people, colleagues, quote unquote, close friends, when he started becoming sick, I was traveling around the country pursuing this love I have of radio, right? So we trusted a family friend who actually, what's crazy about the whole situation is that she was a lawyer. Her name's Karen out of, at the time, Fairfax, Virginia. Now she lives in somewhere bumfuck Virginia, like Southern Virginia or something. I don't even know. But she was a practicing lawyer, and I've known her for a long time. I mean, she never did me wrong, and he said that she could be trusted. So we gave her power of attorney, and long story short, I'll just consolidate the story. She robbed him. She fucking stole all his money. Obviously, it was through a course of time, but essentially that's what she did. She liquidated all his money that was supposed to be, that's his life savings. The story, like, you know when you watch a movie and the ending's always good? Well, this whole situation was a movie. It really was, except the ending is terrible. My father died with nothing. Nothing. He had nothing. He had a violin, some pictures, some clothes, got some Social Security. That's it. She essentially robbed him. I took her to court, and again, through the course of time, you're not going to believe what she ended up getting disbarred for 1 year. She said she had no money. She was bankrupt. So no money was recouped, and she got disbarred from practicing for 1 year. That's it. By the way, let me backtrack. A couple years into this whole situation, when I knew things were going shady, I was in radio in Chicago at the time. She sent her husband, a guy named Carlos. Never seen him in my life, never heard of him. Basically, a stranger came to the lobby at the radio station trying to force me to sign documentation to authorize more money being taken. Something along those lines, from what I remember. Oh, I remember. A documentation authorizing, saying that it was an agreement that my father agreed to pay Karen an exorbitant amount of money to take care of him. The truth is that she just agreed to handle my father's financial estate and, you know, all the details there because they've known each other forever and he's done so much for her. That's the truth. Anyway, he was trying to get me to sign documentation to say that we authorize, you know, Karen to getting paid $5,000 or $10,000 a month or whatever, some crazy amount of money to take care of my dad. They were trying to cover their ass is what was going on. I told them to fuck off, get the hell out of this lobby. Anyway, for whatever reason, the court just disbarred her for 1 year, even though she was found guilty. Which, I don't know, man. It's just so much to absorb. I say this just because I think it's really naive to say that, you know, what goes around comes around, and don't worry, they'll get theirs and bullshit like that, because it is absolutely not true. My truth is what I experience, and that's why I say this. We say these things because it just sounds good. It sonically sounds good to say. You know what I mean? Like you almost have to say it. Oh, don't worry. They're a terrible person. They're going to get theirs. Karma's going to come for them. Let me tell you something. There's going to be people in this world, I'll bet you, more than we'll ever know. Terrible people where bad things will never happen to them. They're just going to live their life perfectly fine. The world's just going to continue on the way it is. And that's just the way it's going to be. So just stop saying what goes around comes around just because it sounds good or you feel obligated to say that, because it's not true. The truth is nobody knows. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know if something bad's going to happen, something's good going to happen. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the way it is, man. You can't make logic out of everything. So anyway, yeah, it's just what I wanted to say. I remember first seeing my dad when I heard the news, late February, early March actually, and man, I told myself I was going to hold my composure. You know, normally I don't show too much emotion, and I just broke down. I remember being on the phone with my aunt, just bawling. I was just uncontrollably crying. I just couldn't believe it. It's just one thing seeing, your father or loved one in front of you, and they're dying. I mean, at the end of the day, you can see it. They're dying, and there's really nothing you can do about it aside from being with him. You know, as much as you can. So, just wanted to put this out there. Like I said, this is therapeutic for me, and for anyone that might be going through some shit. Maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you feel what I feel. Maybe you felt it before. Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier in this is really not. It's really not for you. This is really for me. Just to put it out there, internalizing things is not. It's not good, and I internalize everything personal. I internalize way too much, and at the end of the day, it is not healthy. It really, really is not healthy, and I know that. Maybe it's fear in the past, being judged, worried what other people may think, all those things. All those things. But, yeah, it's got to stop, and that's what I got.